Right, on today's episode of Mental Health Anonymous, I'm joined by one of the moderators on the Facebook group, Danielle Martin. Mrs. Positivity, I call her.
Yep.
Just before we start, we both just want to say that we're not medical professionals. We don't hold any kind of qualifications. All views and points are our own. So just throwing that out there. So good afternoon, Danielle. How are you?
Good afternoon.
Danny, sorry.
Thank you. I was just about to say, call me Danielle one more time and I'll hang up. How are you? Good?
Good, yeah, good. So what I want to chat to you today about is, I know on a pre-conversation before this, you didn't necessarily want me to go into it, but why you were one of the first people to, when I started the group and that, you wanted to be a moderator. Why?
It was a no-brainer for me when you asked for moderators. I hold mental health as a really high priority for myself, for my family, for my friends. So the idea that we could spread that a little bit further really attracted me to come and be a moderator for you.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, obviously we're friends on Facebook and that as well. And every day, I don't know if it's exhausting for you, but every day you're pumping out all these amazing memes and stuff like that. And actually there was a point where I was getting a bit concerned about you. I was like, she okay? And I remember asking you about it months and months ago, like, is everything okay? You fine? And no, you're always buzzing, you're always happy. And you just love spreading good vibes.
You're not on your own. A lot of people do. Sometimes when I pump out those memes, a lot of people are like, Dan, are you okay? I'm like, oh my God, I'm absolutely fine. It's that if I see something that I feel someone else would benefit from actually reading, I just pump it out there. Like, my Facebook page really is just almost like an outreach to other people to just, put things out there that somebody else might want to read. But I do understand, as an outsider looking in, it might be like, oh God, I think she's falling apart. It's not like that at all. It is just a case of, I see something that I think might benefit someone else, so I stick it out there. So always know I'm fine.
Yeah, that's good. It's yeah, I mean, like I try and keep the page and the group separate, and I think it's good to chat about this now because we're getting some confusion. My wife a couple of days ago got contacted by a friend, asking about basically saying that a few of her friends aren't coping so well, and how can they get on the group and the page. And there's confusion between the page and the group, right? So the page is, the best way I've been described it is by Tony, and he said basically the page is like a billboard outside a community center. The community center is the group, so everything on the page is advertising what's going on in the group. So I quite regularly steal your memes. No, I don't necessarily ask for permission either, but you pump out that much good vibes, and it is sound advice as well, some of the things. So I steal them and put them on the page to attract people into the page, and from there they can click on the button to join the group. But what's happening is there's more people joining the page now than there is joining the group. So I think there's that, they don't know the difference yet. So I need to try and get something out on the page to show that. Push that out. So why are you so positive all the time?
Why am I so positive all the time? So I do consider myself a largely positive person, as clearly you think I am as well. I do think I put that out there. I do think I come across to kind of my friends and my colleagues and things as a super positive person. I haven't always been like that, I won't lie. And when I think my positivity really bothers some people as well. I think it can be really annoying for some people, really exhausting. But tough. When I put it out there and I kind of explain to people that I feel like I'm a really positive person, I'm very proud to say I feel like I've got a really positive mindset. There are two misconceptions that come with that every time I put it out there. The first misconception of saying you're a positive person is that people think that you are smiley and cheery all of the time and that nothing can faze you, and in case of emergency, call Dani. The second misconception is that I have been like this always, and I haven't at all. So to put it into perspective a little bit, to say you're a positive person definitely doesn't mean that you're smiley and cheery all the time. Literally just yesterday, I had an absolute shocker of a day. Started off very weird, weird became kind of, you know, challenging, and then challenging became absolute rubbish. And by the time I went to bed, my head was full of negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and I just wanted to go to sleep so I could start afresh the next day. But I still maintain that I'm a pretty positive person, because the difference is you're still entitled to feel all those negative thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Everyone is. It's completely impossible to be 100% positive all the time. Being a positive person, in my opinion, is being able to feel all those feels, the negative ones, but then be able to put them to bed and not hang on to them. And actually, I spend a lot of time kind of reflecting on the things that really annoy me, or the things that have got me down, or things that have annoyed me and kind of challenged me in some way. And I reflect on it, and I'm that annoying person who's like, right, well, what can I take away from that? What can I do differently to make sure it doesn't happen again? How have I kind of, as cliche as it sounds, grown through what that day has just brought? So when I say I'm a positive person, it's okay for me to have the negative, rubbish, challenging days as well. That doesn't make me a negative person. That makes me human, you know. And the second misconception, which I think you're going to be able to relate to, is that I have not always been like this. Being a more positive person, having a kind of solid mindset, positive mindset, which I'm really proud to say that I have, was a very, very conscious decision I made a few years ago. When kind of faced with a challenge that was much bigger than I was. And we've all been there, you've been there. And when you're faced with a challenge that's bigger than you have a choice to make, where you can get sucked into that whirlwind of negativity, or you can try and maintain a positive mindset of, okay, this is temporary. This state that I find myself in that is challenging me will pass. And it's just about trying to maintain a perspective on what it is that you're going through, that it will pass you by and you will be stronger at the other side. I mean, I hope you don't mind me saying, but I know that you've been through some things that I'm sure have challenged you beyond all measure as well. It's easy to fall into that whirlwind. It's harder to pull yourself out of it and try and be more upbeat and more positive, but you've done it. You've done it as well.
You know? Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's all right, like preaching all this stuff all the time, you know, talking about it, telling people to do this, do that, but like characters like yourself. So personally, I would look to you for a little bit of a slap, a little bit of a, you know, cheer yourself up. You know, Mrs. Positivity. So go to her; she'll definitely cheer us up. Right, not a problem. But like you just said, like you fall into that trap sometimes as well with the negativity and stuff. And I think it's almost exhausting trying to stay in that positive mindset. So for me, I mean, my job is, it's all time restraints. It's all deadlines. It's all got, I suppose there's a lot of people that, and I'm trying to teach myself that when I see what kind of work I've got for the evening, not to fall into that, oh my God, this is impossible. I'm never going to be able to get this. And I'm trying to, and I've been doing it well. I've been doing it well the last few months, is looking at it and going, right, this is totally possible. Right, let's get this smashed. Right, come on, let's go. And it's hard, and it's so much easier just to be negative and be moany and whingy, because I think that's what the world is. And I always say to my son and stuff, and again, we're always preaching this stuff, but we don't take heed of it ourselves. Well, I don't anyway. And it's like, it's annoying. Like, I need to start learning what I'm saying to other people. And it's, I always say to my sons, like, the easiest thing you can do in the world is quit. It's the easiest thing you can do is just quit. And being positive is hard work, but surely it comes to a point where it becomes really easy, and it becomes part of your life. So you've made that breakthrough of being this negative person to 50-50 negative positive, to hitting through that wall when you're just a positive, bubbly person all the time. Yeah, of course you're going to have little down days and little bad moments and stuff like that, but you know, it takes some effort, doesn't it? It's not just one of these things you wake up and go, right, I'm positive now.
Exactly. Like literally, these are some of my trains of thought earlier on today, because I knew that positivity was going to be something we talked about. And there's this amazing lady that I watched in a TED talk once, and I literally watch her whenever I just need a bit of a boost. Her name's Rita Pearson, and in her chat she says something like, when you say something enough, it becomes a part of you. And I think that kind of feeds into what you're saying, because you cannot physically wake up and be like, right, I'm officially a positive person.
Yeah.
That takes time. And like you say, there are days you get sucked right back into this whole negative woe is me attitude. God, we all do it. But for me, it is a natural way of being now. But I would only say that after like 3 or 4 years of trying to be that person. And it has become who I am, which, I'm really pleased with. But yeah, it's, for me, being negative now is much more exhausting than being positive. It's like expending energy that shouldn't be spent, like that's completely wasted. So for me, it's now the role reversal of when I'm negative, that drains the life out of me. And actually being positive just really enhances kind of my day. Like yesterday, for example, you wouldn't have wanted to know me yesterday. But today, I'm here and I'm smiling and I'm happy again. Super looking forward to doing our podcast. Although wasn't always looking forward to doing our podcast, as I know. I was a little bit scared, but yeah, for me, it's exactly like you say. It's definitely become a part of who I am, but it does not happen overnight. So you're right. You're absolutely right.
It is. I mean, I consider myself quite positive now. Right, I am trying. I'll take you back to a scenario a couple of weeks ago. Right, so booked some holiday, been looking forward to all year, as is everybody. Decided to go back up to Scotland for the first time since the pandemic, really. Got up there, and I think I put a post on about it. Like I was dead nervous going back into the house. After the death of my mother, it was a bit strange going back in the house, and I couldn't keep using COVID isn't a massive excuse. Obviously, I couldn't travel, so that sort of helped me. But when we were allowed to be free again, the excuses couldn't carry on. So I thought to myself, I'm just gonna have to go up there, smash through this, and make the effort basically. So whilst we was up there, we decided we're going to go camping, and I think it was 4 days, and it was all fun and planned out, and the positivity was beaming. Couldn't wait. Got up there, and life's great. I've done the house visit. Everything's smashing. We've gone camping. We've pulled into the campsite. A wasp, Danny, landed on the rear view mirror. Right. Landed on my rear view mirror, and all I did was take this hat off and swipe the wasp. My rear view mirror fell off. So I picked the rear view mirror up, and I'm still in my head, right? This is where the battle begins. I'm like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Whereas before it had been, why is this always me? This wouldn't happen to a single person in the world. Why is it happening to me? And I'm like, yeah, don't worry about it, right? Just look at it. Right, that's easy enough. We just open that up a little bit and just put it back in place. Not a problem. Tried doing it, wouldn't work. I was like, come on. Put a little bit more force in, wouldn't work. Next thing you know, my hand's gone through the windscreen, and I'm like, what? And that was it. That was the breaking point. Literally, that was me. I was like, why? What? This would not happen to a single other person on this planet. What? Who's testing me? And that's what I go to now. I'm like, who's testing me? Why? And the thing was, this was on a Saturday. We were supposed to travel back to England on the Sunday. And I'm working Monday evening, and I just shut down. I was like, there was too many component parts to get this issue fixed, and I just shut down. I ruined everybody's evening. My dad and my wife and my kid and that, they just left me. They just went for a walk. My dad at one point told me to calm down because I had a little snap at my little girl because she just asked me to go throw a frisbee with her. It was just a negative cloud. As your man Ollie, he was speaking on his in our last podcast. It was this negative cloud just shrouded me, and I thought, I can't deal with this. And what you were saying then about being exhausted, it is literally a physical state of being exhausted. I was shattered. I got into the van, went upstairs, got into bed, and that was me until 8 o'clock the next morning. I just passed out. I was gone. Got a bit of a lecture off my dad the next day, and basically got told to pull my finger out and let's get this fixed. And we did. And then when I started ringing people, especially work were great. And we started getting the issue fixed. I thought the last 12 hours of my life, I spent like a 5-year-old kid and I did. And I just thought, see if I'd have just chilled out and gone, right, fine, this can get fixed. Everything can be fixed. You know what I mean? I do lose it a lot. And that's where I'm trying to still, I mean, I'm nearly 40, say it quite a lot. I'm still trying to train my head that problems can be fixed. And like you said earlier, things will pass and things will get better. But it's learning that, and it's getting that in your head.
But I remember talking to you a couple of days after that whole incident had happened, because I think, had we exchanged a message or something, and I kind of sensed all wasn't right. And then a couple of days later, I checked in, and you said something really good then. I don't know if you remember. You said about how you saw the good in everybody when you tried to solve that problem.
Yeah.
The people on the campsite, everybody kind of just pulled together, and it did make you feel better. Maybe there was a lesson there for you that actually maybe you had to smash a windscreen. Here comes the positivity, and you ready? Maybe you had to smash your windscreen to be reminded that there are really good people in the world again, you know?
Yeah.
And it's all right. It's all right to lose your shizzle every now and then. We all do. And for checking, because that's what daddies do as well. So.
It's my little girl. I mean, she's what, 6, and she kept saying to us, and she was winding me up. Like, I was getting wound up by a 6-year-old. She kept going every time I closed the door or threw a ball to her or whatever, and anything that took a little bit of force, she used to go, oh, "Daddy, careful." And I'd be like, "What?" And she'd be like, "Hulk smash." I'm like, "What?" She's like, "Hulk smash." I'm like, "Do you know what I mean?"
That's funny. I like it.
It did. It cheered me up. Like, but that just shows you the difference between my thinking and her thinking. She thought it was funny. My wife thought it was funny. My dad thought it was funny. And I sat with them the next day thinking, how was that funny? How was that funny? It's just cost me X amount of money to get it fixed. All these phone calls, all this admin. I should be sat here enjoying myself. And my dad said, "Look on the bright side." I went, "What bright side?" He goes, "Your phone work." Well, this is the bright side, right? He goes, "Your phone work. What's work said?" I was like, "Well, they're letting me off. They've booked me 2 emergency holiday days." He goes, "Right, okay." He goes, "And when's the window getting fixed?" I went, "Tuesday." He went, "Right, so look around you." I was like, "Right." He goes, "You're in a really, really nice location. It's quiet. You're in a valley in Scotland. You're surrounded by forests and the sun's glaring. The weather's to be great. You're only supposed to be here for a day. And you've got enough supplies. You've just basically given yourself an extended stay." I was like, "Right." He goes, "Enjoy it." I was like, "Okay." And he's so right.
You did in the end as well, didn't you?
Yeah, it was gleaming. Yeah, it was good. But I suppose a part of me felt guilt as well that I should have been at work. Because he's very busy at the minute. But it's that. Go on, sorry.
Guilt is one of those things we're all susceptible to.
Mm.
But guilt is one of those things that causes negativity as well. Like, that's how we get sucked into the trap. You have to be able to let that stuff go. But
Yeah,
it just let people down. You're a good person. But guilt is one of those things that can suck us right back in again. We're all guilty of it.
Yeah. But again, we're constantly learning, aren't we? So I had a really good experience at work, again, at work. Was it last night? No, the night before. I can't remember what day we're on now. So it must have been Thursday night. Yeah. Right, so it was Wednesday night. Again, my work's all about timing. You've got to be here at this time. You're there for that amount of time. You've got to move on. And it is pretty stressful at times. Like, and usually when you phone up to say, "I can't," or "this has happened," there is a bit of tension in the phone call, because somebody on the other side of the phone is trying to do their job and they're counting on you doing your job, so it all just works smoothly. Doesn't always happen. So I hadn't been in work for 12 days because I had holiday, come back into work. This went wrong, that went wrong, this went wrong, and it just went. It was not a nice evening anyway. So eventually I admitted defeat and I rang up and said, "Look, this has happened." And I was expecting a bit of, "Oh, come on, you need to get your finger out, you need to get this done, you need to get that done." And I got this phone call. Well, the woman that answered the phone, wow. She said to me, she goes, "Right, Ian. I was like, "What?" She goes, "Calm down." I went, "Oh." She goes, "You're going to give yourself a heart attack." And I was like, "Hey?" And she goes, "Relax, right? It's just work." She goes, "We can fix it. Every problem can be fixed." I went, Okay, thinking, what's the catch? Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, right, okay. And she goes, do this, X, Y, Z. Have you got any other ideas? So I gave my spin, and she goes, right, let's stick to what I said. Let's get that done, and just chill out. And then when you get back to where I've told you to go, don't rush around. Switch the vehicle off. Go and get yourself a cup of tea. Chill out. And I was like, wow, all right. And she totally calmed me down. And I felt so strongly about it that we live in such a negative world. And I mean negative, right? That when I go into work, I quite often feel sorry for my boss. She is constantly, I don't know how any the managers I've ever been with really cope. It's just moaning, constant moaning. This isn't right, that ain't right, this needs changing. He spoke to me like this, she spoke to me like that, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, do you know what? I'm going to ring her up. And I don't know if it's a bit kiss-assy or anything like that, but why not spread a bit of positivity? So I phoned her up and said, like, exactly that. Look, I don't know if this is going to sound a bit ass-kissy or that, but I feel like the phone call I had last night deserves a little bit of recognition. Now, I don't expect this person to get a little yellow sticker with a smiley face on it saying, I done good, but on the other hand, if she'd have done bad, she'd have got disciplined. So what's the difference?
That's such a good point. Such a good point.
Do you know what I mean? And it's constant. So I thought, right. So I told her what had happened, and she goes, I'm actually about to go into a big conference call now, and I'm going to mention that. Do you mind if I mention your name? I said, my name's not important. It's, you know, mention her name if you want to mention me, whatever, but it's more to do with her. Like, she went, right. And she goes, we need more of this. We need more. This is working, and these are the good things that are happening instead of the constant negativity. I was like, cool. So, you know, I never expected anything from it or anything like that. I haven't heard anything, but I'm hoping that lady, I don't want to mention names and stuff, you know, but I'm hoping that she got a little tap on the shoulder. Can we have a quick word? And what you did last night, keep it up. That's brilliant. And she actually motivated me as well, because I was still running behind.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, I'm going to do this for you. Yes, I will do this for you. Do you know what I mean? And she things like that. But when people are negative to me, big time, I'm like, nah, why should I? You know?
See that lady who was on the phone, who we're leaving nameless. If she listens, she'll know exactly who she is. I would call her a 2%er. Have you heard of 2%ers before?
No.
So there's this guy called Errol Lawson. Am I allowed to name drop on here? I have to. But there's a guy on Instagram called Errol Lawson, and he actually came into our work. So I'm a teacher / mental health officer at school, and he came in to do some CPD. Now, normally CPD isn't a day you overly get excited about, and this guy was incredible. And his whole chat was so right up my street. Oh my gosh, I loved it. It was all his whole program was called The Art of Brilliance. And he talked about there are two types of people. There are 2%ers, and then there's everybody else. So the 2%ers are the people who I like to class myself as a 2%er, who are positive, try and remain upbeat, bring everybody else along with them, kind of be that energy in a room, who, you know, and it sounds to me like that lady who was on the phone to you is a solid 2%er as well. So that's a really nice thing you did, because we're all so quick to be told off when we don't do something well. But actually, it's really lovely to be told when you're doing something well, you know, too.
But why did I find it harder, right? And I'm going to say I'm not a whinger, I'm not a moaner, and there'll be tons of people go, whoa, right? But why did I find it almost cringeworthy to phone my boss and tell her that somebody done well?
Do you want my answer?
Yeah.
Because you're not doing it enough. So I am that person who, if I see something I like in someone, even if I don't know them, they're going to hear about it. So like, prime example was I was in the gym last week, and I was doing a class, and there was a girl opposite me, like her body was insane. And I was like, I'm absolutely going to tell her that when we're done. And I did, you know, and I'm that person who'll tell a person in Tesco that I love their shoes, or constantly telling my colleagues when they've done a good job, because like you, I am so aware that when we do something wrong, we're all told off about it so quickly. But actually, why the heck are we not patting people on the back a bit more often? Like, what if I'm a huge believer, if you see something good in someone, you tell them. Like, I called you a legend the other day because of something you said. You know, I don't say that just to be nice, even though I am very nice. I say it because it's true. You know, I'm a straight shooter. I say it like it is. So, you know, when you see something good in someone, you should say it. And maybe, just maybe, you need to do it more often, and then you get more and more comfortable with it.
That makes so much sense. It's so much sense. So I remember, no, I'm using all these examples because I've been directly involved in them. I was up in Scotland. I was around the football stadium, the team I support, and they've got these stairs at the back, and there are lots and lots and lots of stairs. And there was a woman with a buggy, and she just started to bring a buggy up. You know, when you walk backwards and you bounce it up. And I said to her, I goes, "Oh, do you want a hand with that?" And she went, "No, I'm fine." I was like, "You're not?" I was like, "Do you want a hand?" "Yeah, it's not a problem." So I put my bags down. My little boy was there. I put my bags down, and I went over, and she goes, "Oh no, it's fine, it's fine." I went, "It's no bother whatsoever. Like, let me help you." Like, I lifted her up, and at the top she was all smiling and thank you. But when you're kind to somebody, it's almost weird to them because we live in such a shitty, negative society, and I don't care saying it. We do. When you let people out of junction driving and you deliberately stop to let them get on the way, the amount of times I've had a double take, like, "Why are you being nice? What do I owe you? Do I have to give you something back?" No, mate, just smile, pass it on, you know, spread positivity.
I love this. So when you say about pass it on, can I tell you 2 stories?
Yeah, crack on.
You can tell me to be quiet at any point, but there are 2 things. In my last school that I worked in, I had this lovely little forum group. Oh my gosh, I love them so much. And we decided to do a pay it forward kind of thing, where we did random acts of kindness. Nobody knew it was us. And we kept it within our little forum. It was like our little year 8 secret. And then we put little random acts of kindness, like, and all we asked in those random acts of kindness that people paid it forward. You should have seen the wave that went around the school because of that. It was unbelievable. And we only told people who it was on the very last day of school. We put together a assembly video and then we shared it with them, but it had been going on for about 2 or 3 months by that point.
Brilliant. Wow.
It was kind. And I have huge faith in humanity. It's hard sometimes when you watch the news and see all the negative stuff going on, but you have to look for the little things that are going on, and that's the part we're missing. We're only seeing the big things, and we're missing the little things that are going on right on our doorstep. There's a guy I know who carries out these random acts of kindness for no reason other than to just be kind, with no expectation of anything in return, and they're really random and just kind of out of the blue. And it's really nice to see things like that, you know. Yeah, so there's a wave there of kindness. If you can just do one little thing for someone, like, there is a wave. It does change everyone's day.
I wonder, like, if you could, you know, so doing something kind for one person. So you saying, like, you're in a shopping centre and you see somebody with nice shoes and you just say, "I really love your shoes." I guarantee they walk away for a couple of seconds going, "What? Weirdo."
Yeah.
But then they'll go, "Oh, yeah, all right, that's nice." And then I wonder, because you won't be able to monitor it like you did at your school, but I wonder if later on that day they pay something to somebody else back, you know, just walking down the street and, you know, waiting in a queue or something, go, "Oh, I really like your jacket," or something, just to somebody that looks a bit down. And I wonder if it actually is a wave. And, you know, the amount of, I was at one of my places of work last night, way up northwise, and the guy, he had to shut his it was midnight, so he had to shut all his tills and stuff like that to do all these accounts. Everybody does it in the whole of the UK, right, at these petrol station sites. So you can't get any fuel or anything like that. It takes 2 minutes. And a guy turned up in a van, tried to fill his van up, wouldn't work, and he ticked off. He went insane. He went over to the window. The shop's locked anyway. He went over to the window and he's like, I need fuel, mate. I need fuel. And he's like, yeah, I totally understand that. I'm sorry, but this is the situation. 2 minutes and I'll be back on. But I need to get somewhere. And then this guy started like punching. I'm exaggerating, but he was tapping the window, and I thought, wow, look how fast that guy's gone from 0 to woof. And I thought about like approaching him. I didn't in the end, like, but I thought, what's going on in that guy's life that he's that angry? He's that negative. He's got, you know what I mean? I thought, what? But a big truck driver was stood behind him, like, and not the kind of guy I would want to mess with anyway. And he just said to this guy, I heard the conversation, he was just like, excuse me, mate. And he goes, what? In this guy's face. And he goes, calm down, buddy. There's 2 minutes, it'll all be over and you can go about your way. He's like, I need to get this van back. And he goes, that's fine, but 2 minutes of your time. And the guy was like, I'm sick of this. And he went over, he kicked his van, he walked around the back of the shop, and he came back and he went, I apologise. And he was like, he had a little word with himself. And the till assistant bloke was like, pumps are back on now, mate. You can crack on. And he filled up and then he came back, and I was around that area then, and he was like, I made a right idiot of myself there. He goes, I'm stressing out and blah, blah, blah. He goes, I'm really sorry. And then he walked away and went on his way. But
the thing about that is, as well, as much as we might say, oh, that was out of order, one, we've probably all done it. And two, we've no idea what the heck that guy's been through that day.
Yeah, exactly.
You just don't know what the person standing beside you has been going through that day, which is
exactly
always that whole thing of just be kind, because you don't know. One thing you're going to do is just going to be the straw that breaks the camel's back for someone as well, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's where the guy that was stood behind him, he had fair play to him being that calm anyway, but he and the till assistant bloke, he could have escalated it by saying something untoward or anything like that. But everybody was dead calm and chilled out. And I always look at that. See, whenever I see somebody like absolutely bombing it in their car or something like that, I will, if they're that desperate to get away from me, get in front of me, I will let them, because I think, and this is what I would love to teach and get out there, that like you just said, we don't know, we're not mind readers, we don't know what's going on in somebody else's head that day. I always think of worst case, why is he in such a rush? Has he just had a really bad phone call and he needs to be somewhere right now? And I think I'll help him get on his way. I'll move out the way. I'll never see the guy again. It's no skin off my nose whatsoever. But a lot of people go straight to the negative and think, look at this asshole, look at cutting me up and stuff like that. Just mind your own business and try and be kind. And if that means being kind to people you generally think are assholes, then whatever. I mean, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I always think as well, you cannot change what's going to happen in life. Like, we cannot dictate what's going to happen every single day. We have zero control over that. But we absolutely have full control over how we respond to everything. That's our conscious choice.
Yeah.
You either choose to respond like an idiot or choose to respond, in a calm, positive manner. And you do always fall into one of two categories. We all do it. We flip back and forth from each, but we can't control the situations we find ourselves in, but we have full conscious control over how we respond to them. I think that's really important to remember as well.
Yeah, massively. Cool. All right, Dani, thanks very much for coming and joining us today. Some of your free time to help spread the word of positivity. It's been an amazing chat.
No problems. Good fun. Thanks, Ian.
Happy days. Hopefully we can do it again soon, definitely. So if you have enjoyed today's podcast, or this week's podcast and videos, just do the thing, like, share and subscribe. Try helping us spread the word of mental health and positivity and everything we're trying to achieve. I'll be much appreciated. But yeah, thanks very much for listening.
Take it easy, guys.
No.
But you know what, you are really good at it. Really, really good at it.
Okay, it's recording now. I'm going to keep that in.
Oh.
All
what
good?
That you're good at.
On today's episode of Mental Health Anonymous. I'm joined by one of the mods, Lisa.
I'm not Lisa.
Not Lisa. It's because I've been saying to myself, it's Daniel Martin. Daniel Martin.
Fun.
Right.
Right.
Okay, ready?